Okay, so vision-based goal stacking. One of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is two things. What vision-based goal stacking is all about. So that covers the cardinal points that we talk about in our company, as well as the goal stacking section. So let me start really quick before we get going and talk a little bit about the name Box the Compass, the name of our company. It's a little bit different, so it may not make a whole lot of sense unless I explain it to you. So in early nautical times, one of the first things that a sailor was required to learn were the 32 major and minor points of the compass. So each of the cardinal points, your north, south, east, and west, have 8 individual minor points within each of those. So there's 32 points in total that the sailor would be required to learn. And if you were told to box the compass, it meant that the sailor was supposed to recite all 32 points in order, starting with north. The other powerful meaning that's really symbolic that comes from the nautical times is that if you were out in the ocean and your captain told you to box the compass, it meant that you were supposed to turn the ship around 180 degrees and go the opposite direction. So I really loved, when I came across this, I really loved the symbolic nature of that. And, you know, if we're going to make meaningful changes in our life, and we actually want to design the perfect life that's in harmony with our values and desires, we need to have total clarity on where we are, where we want to be, and how we're going to get there. We need to clearly understand the major and minor points of our lives. And sometimes we might need to make a complete reversal. So that's where the name of my company comes from. I hope it's as inspiring for you as it was for me when I was pulling all this together. So Life by Design Academy is the program that I've developed that teaches the concepts and principles that encompass all of this research and personal experience that I've had. You know, one of the biggest frustrations that I've had with self-improvement in general is that whether you read a book, listen to a podcast, or you attend a seminar, whatever it is, when you get all this motivation to make changes, but then Monday comes around, you don't know what to do. So nothing happens. You know, Tuesday comes around, it's the same thing. You're not quite sure where to start. So you don't do anything. And before you know it, the month's passed, all your motivation is gone, and you're back into the same patterns that have created the results that you have today. So my goal with Box the Compass and Life by Design Academy is to help you create this vibrant, powerful vision for your life and a specific pathway to get there. You know, vision without action is like just dreaming, and action without vision is like sailing without a rudder. It's basically living in a rut when you just have action but no vision behind it. If you want meaningful, real changes in your life, you need both, and that's what we do. We help you create incredible vision and generate massive action so you can live the life that you and those that are closest to you deserve. Okay, so that's the purpose and meaning behind what I'm doing. Let's jump in and talk about your cardinal points. So several years ago, this was a long time ago actually, I was hiking and camping in the mountains of Utah. I'd been there for about a week, and the last morning that I was planning on staying up there, I woke up and there was 16 inches of snow on the ground. I'd been there the entire week. I knew the area fairly well, and I was pretty confident that I could pack up my camp and make it back to my truck that was down by the river. As I started hiking and kind of working my way back, I kind of became a little bit concerned. The clouds were super low. Nothing looked the same. I couldn't find any landmarks. I couldn't keep myself oriented on which direction I was going. And as I crossed a meadow on this side hill, it felt kind of eerily similar or familiar. And as I kind of approached this little stream, I saw a set of boot prints in the snow. And I realized that it looked familiar because I had crossed that same stream about an hour previous. And for the last hour, I had been circling myself, walking around in a blizzard, not knowing where I was at. And I've spent a lot of time in the backcountry and outdoors, and there has never been a time where I was that unnerved and scared about the reality that I had been hiking lost in a blizzard in the mountains, and was very actually lucky to find my tracks in the snow again. So let's talk a little bit about what a cardinal point is. So the word cardinal is derived from the word cardo in the Roman Empire, in Latin. In the Roman Empire, Cardo Maximus was the main street that ran through the center of the city in a north to south orientation. And The primary importance was the North Point because everything else was derived from that setting. And there are a lot of phrases that are used today that have the same concept, including like of cardinal importance that emphasizes a critical point or something really important, or when a person has lost their north to describe somebody who's struggling in life, or like me, was literally lost in the mountains. And the Cardo was the hinge or the axis of the entire city. So it was very critical to the layout of the streets. So in our lives, this is a powerful concept that we can include in our lives to ensure that we don't lose our north or that we remain grounded in our core principles. And while the compass has 4 cardinal points, in our lives we have 5. And each one of them has a major impact on our success and our happiness and the joy that we experience in life. You know, throughout our lives, we might be focused on one or more of these areas, more than others, but each of them requires careful and really consistent nurturing if we want to reach our full potential. So the 5 cardinal points in our lives are spiritual, physical, financial, social, and mental. Let's talk about each one of those and kind of break them down a little bit. So our spiritual cardinal point is critical if we want to achieve not just success, but success accompanied by happiness. Because if our actions aren't aligned with our spiritual values, there's no amount of success that's going to bring us peace in this life. You know, if you believe that there's a higher power that's invested in your existence, you need to nurture this spiritual connection, whether it's through prayer or meditation or study, whatever your journey looks like. Realize that this cardinal point will keep you grounded in your purpose for being here. Okay. There are 2 minor points within the spiritual point. They include your beliefs and your value system. Okay. The next one is health and nutrition. And if you're going to create a significant change in your life, you're going to need more stamina, more energy, more vitality than you've probably ever had. And incredible success is going to be of 0 value if you don't have a body that's capable of enjoying the life that you've created. You know, the body's an absolute miracle that we often neglect, even when it sends us increasing signals of severity. I read an interesting quote once. Said, we spend our first 40 years neglecting our health to earn money, and our second 40 years spending our money to repair our health. And you see that a lot in the world today. There are 3 minor points in physical health that are physical. They include health and nutrition, your diet, and exercise. Okay, the next one is financial. So the financial cardinal point is interesting because it's at the same time the least important of the cardinal points as well as the most important. Let me explain that. So no matter where we're at financially, we can find joy in the world in our lives. You know, gratitude is a mindset, and some of the poorest people on earth still have joyful lives. So from that perspective, it's the least important of all the cardinal points. However, unlike the other 4 points, financial can have the most immediate impact. If you don't exercise for a month, you're not going to fall apart. If you don't read a book for a month, your brain's not going to melt away. But if you lose your income for a month, and for a vast majority of us, and many people that experienced that this last year, it can be disastrous. So from that perspective, it's very important. And if you want to create true change, you're going to need new financial habits to change your life. You know, you need to make more money, keep more of what you make, protect your financial foundation. All of this requires knowledge and beliefs and actions that may be completely different than what you may have learned to this point in your life. So the minor points in financial are spending, savings, debt, and taxation. And these 4 minor points need to work in harmony in order for you to have full control of your finances. You can't overspend and create savings. You can't increase your savings when you're in debt. And taxes impact everything, so it's critical to learn how to legally minimize your tax burden and maximize the amount of money that you keep. Okay, the next one is social. You know, I heard once that the biggest fear we have in life is not being remembered. And honestly, relationships are the foundation of happiness. This experience that we call life is not about money or success or accomplishments. It's about the people that you share your life with and the impact that you have on them. Get your relationships right, and everything else in life is a bonus. So the minor points in this are your family and your friendships and the relationships that you have with them. And then the final one is mental. Jim Rome said, for things to change, you have to change. So whatever shift you're seeking to create has to begin with you. Your success in life only increases when your skills and your contribution to the world increases. Let me say that again. Your success only increases when your skills and your contribution to the world increase. So one of the easiest ways to begin this journey is simply by learning. Read, watch, listen to information that's going to enable you to reach the vision that you have for yourself. One of my worst habits that I have is and I still struggle with it, is when I get in the car, I turn on the news, I turn on talk radio. And if I don't have a podcast, a TED Talk, or something inspirational ready to play when I get into the car, my mind just defaults to that and I listen to it. So I have to really focus on maintaining that mental empowerment each day. And the minor points in this are your intelligence and your emotions. And as you work through this area, you're going to increase your knowledge about specific things as well as your emotions. Okay, so how do we define our cardinal points? Now that we know what they are, how do we actually go in and define them? You all have heard of an I-beam. An I-beam is that picture here in the middle, this big beam right here. It looks like an eye when you view it from the end. And it's the support structure in buildings. Everything on each floor is built out on I-beams. And so they're very powerful. Steve, can you unmute really quick? I want to work with you on this a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, so Steve, if I put an I-beam, maybe a 20-foot long I-beam on the ground, and asked you to walk across it and told you that if you walked across it without falling off, I'd give you $20. Would you do that?
Sure.
Yeah, low risk, nice reward, right?
Yeah.
What if I took that I-beam and stretched it across two, like one-story houses, not great big tall houses, but two one-story houses. So they're maybe 20, 30, 20 feet below you, 10, 20 feet below you. If you fell off, you wouldn't die, but you might break a leg or, sprain an arm or something like that. Would you walk across that for $20?
I probably would, just for the challenge, but it would be much more difficult because it would I would know that there's a greater risk.
Yeah.
Like you said, even though I'm not going to, kill myself, I could get hurt. Even if I didn't break anything, there'd be pain if I misstepped, and my brain would start to get in my way. So it would make it feel like that I-beam was more narrow, even though it's not. And because I run into this with my mountain bike, the same thing. And all of a sudden your vision closes in, and it feels like you're not as steady. And
20 feet looks a lot further down than it does up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me change it a little bit. Let's say I'm going to stretch that I-beam between two high-rise towers. And now if you walk across it, obviously, and you don't make it, you fall off and die. Would you do it for $1,000?
Probably not, no.
Yeah, would you do it for $1 million? If I said literally, I have $1 million, you walk across that I-beam, you get $1 billion. But if you fall, you die.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'd have to test the wind.
Yeah, the wind's blowing. There's no safety net, right?
No, probably not.
Yeah,
no.
$1 million doesn't help if you're not here to
if
enjoy
I'm
it.
dead. Yeah.
So I'm going to change it just a little bit. Now, instead of offering you $1 million, I believe you have a grandson named Oliver, right?
Yes.
How old is Oliver now?
He was born in October, so he is
3.5.
4 months old almost.
Sweet. So now, instead of offering you $1 million, there's a bad person on the other side. And they say to you, Steve, if you don't cross this I-beam without falling off, I'm going to drop Oliver to his death. Would you cross the I-beam then?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. What would you cross the I-beam for?
The things that are closest to my heart.
Yeah.
Things that have the most value to me.
Yeah. So my guess that when you kind of have this question posed to you, your mind immediately goes to the most important people in your life, and maybe some of the core principles that you have that you consider to be unbreakable, that you will not waver on these core principles. So as you look at each one of the areas, each one of those cardinal points, think about what you would cross the I-beam for. Would you cross it to have an income that would never be impacted by somebody else's decision, so that you can always have the ability to take care of your family? Would you cross it in order to have a body that was fit and healthy and have vitality and active? Would you cross it? What would you cross it for? So how do we create these? Because we have a good idea of the things that are most important to us, but we rarely put into actual writing the beliefs that we have in these areas. I've come to, if you know me at all, you know that I'm a big believer in vision statements. And there's a quote that I read that says, in order to create a new physical reality in your life, you have to first create it spiritually. And that's the power behind a vision statement. Its purpose is to guide you as you physically create the life that you want, to give you purpose and power and bring all the elements together. Like my experience in the mountains on that snowy, crazy day, without these beacons, we kind of wander around in circles. We lose our direction. And eventually we kind of settle for what life hands us. So in each of the 5 cardinal points, ask yourself, would you cross it for financial freedom? Would you cross it for your spouse or your child? Why? Ask the question why. And that'll help you dig a little bit deeper and create a little bit more power and passion behind each one of those statements. Their content and their length are up to you. You can decide how long you want them, how detailed you want them. But you want to write them as though you're currently living in that state of being. So you're defining a future state of being as though it's happening today. And you're living in perfect alignment with your values, and you're experiencing that reality today. So creating these statements for each one of your cardinal points is a really powerful exercise. It's an opportunity to define direction and a purpose in each of the key areas of your life. So I'm going to show you one of my cardinal vision statements. This is for financial. And I'm just going to read it to you, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we take this then and turn this into an action plan. So here's my financial cardinal statement. I live in abundance because I've created financial freedom in my life. While I will always manage my money, I'm at a point where money no longer manages me. I have multiple streams of income so that a disruption in one of them does not put my family's security at risk. I am free of any debt, and that freedom opens up opportunities that would not be available otherwise. I will never retire because I do what I love, and I will always strive to provide value to others. I've created and protected generational money that will bless the lives of my children and grandchildren long after I am gone. I give generously to causes I believe in, and I'm fortunate to have the ability to bless the lives of others in many profound ways. So you can see, as I created this statement for myself, I just thought about, okay, what are those things that are most important to me? And how can I build that out in a way that is powerful and empowering to me, so that I can look to this as kind of my North Star for this area of my life. Now, how do you take this statement and turn it into something that's more functional? Oh, sorry, let me before we go there, I'm going to wrap up cardinal points and kind of ask you if you have any questions about that. So I was fortunate that day that I stood in the mountains in my own boot prints in the snow. I was literally shaking, not just from being cold, but from the reality that I'd been completely lost in the mountains in a blizzard. That is usually a good combination to end your life. But as I stared at that stream that I crossed an hour earlier, I realized that it provided all the direction I needed. Following that stream would lead me to the river, and the river would lead me to my truck. So cardinal points, a lot like that stream, will give us direction and guidance in our lives, especially when the clouds are low and there's a foot of snow on the ground. So do you guys have any questions about the cardinal points, what we covered so far? Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and start then on compass and goal stacking. So the challenge with the treasure hunt is that we have a tendency to focus on the treasure. I don't know if you guys have heard, there's a very wealthy man down in, I believe it was New Mexico, who buried a treasure in the mountains somewhere in the Northwest. And he wrote a great big long poem that had clues to where the treasure was located. And I think it was hidden for a good 4 or 5 years. And just this year, somebody found it. But there were a lot of people that got lost, had to call search and rescue. There are people that have disappeared looking for that treasure that they were never found. And I think sometimes we have a tendency to focus on the treasure. I read an article about a guy that didn't find it, but that reconnected with his dad in a way that he had never done before. And they spent an entire summer together camping and checking out these areas that they never would have gone to otherwise. And it was a summer, an epic summer for them to spend that time together to look for this treasure. But it was about the journey for them, not about actually finding the treasure. So the surest, fastest way to get any place is to set your compass and just start walking. So as you create each of the statements for your cardinal points, you're going to see discrepancies between where you're at now and where you want to be. The real question is, are you willing to take those simple, small, consistent steps that over time lead you closer to that vision? Because it's the small things that, when compounded over time, allows you to reach a destination. So, as I mentioned, one of my biggest frustrations with self-help programs and things like that are all this motivation, but no direction. And even like some of the goal setting information out there, like SMART goals, right? They don't necessarily provide you with that direction that you need. And so what I've wanted to do is, and what I've found is incredibly powerful, is called goal stacking. So you have a series of goals that align with each other and create synergy and momentum towards a specific vision. Okay, so if you've ever been at the bottom of a mountain, kind of looking up, if you've ever spent any time in the mountains, you can look up at where you're supposed to go and be pretty overwhelmed. It can look like a really long ways. And I'm talking about mountains in both the literal and the figurative sense. So what do you do when you have no choice but to climb that mountain? There are some mountains in life that we just have to climb. You take one step, and then you take another, and then another, and you be present in the destination, or you be present in the moment, and committed to know that the pathway that you are on is moving in the right direction. In other words, your goal becomes the compass, not the treasure. Your big goal is the direction of the journey, not necessarily the destination. I read an interesting quote from, all people, Jim Carrey. It was really deep and insightful. And he said, as far as I can tell, success is just about letting the universe know what you want and working toward it, while letting go of how it might come to pass. Your job is not to figure out how it's going to happen for you, but to open the door in your head. When the door isn't open in real life, just walk through it. Don't worry if you miss your cue. There will always be another door opening. I just thought that was really insightful. And recognizing that the universe, God, whatever it is that you believe in, will respond when you have a desire that is righteous and will help you bless your life and the lives of those around you. The universe will respond, but you have to put it out there. You have to have the action. You have to have the vision. So here's an overview of what goal stacking looks like. Think of it as a pyramid, where at the top of it is your life vision, your north point, your North Star. Below life vision, that's supported by waypoints. Those are areas that allow you, or stops along the way that allow you to get to your life vision. Your waypoints are selected by a 1-year goal, which is supported by a 6-month goal, which is supported by monthly, weekly, and daily goals. And all of this, the foundation for all of this, is your cardinal points. Another way to look at this is, it's been said that most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. So with this training, what we're doing is we're going to use your cardinal points to get very specific with your goals, so you can actually accomplish more this year than you thought possible, and more in 10 years than you even dreamed would be the possibility. So here's another way to look at it. Your cardinal points, all 5 of them, as you define them and develop them, you're going to find differences between where you're at and where you want to be. And you're going to take those differences and you're going to create monthly, weekly, and daily goals that are supported and lead directly to a 6-month goal that leads directly to a 1-year vision. Okay. Now, one thing to think about and be aware of is we don't want to get overwhelmed and feel like we have to hit every single cardinal point with our full focus. As you develop these, you should have a pretty good idea and instinctive feel about where you need to place your focus in your life right now. So you may focus on 1 or 2 this year and some others the next year. But you're also always going to have a little bit of focus on each one of them. So even though, like, my focus this year is on financial and physical, I want to get in the best shape of my life, and I want to be financially secure. So those are the 2 primary focus points for me. But I also have things that I want to focus on in spiritual and social and mental. but that's not necessarily the biggest point. So even though it may not have your full attention, each of these will have an area that you want to focus on. But you want to kind of instinctively know which ones you're going to look at immediate future. Okay, so let's go back to my financial cardinal point, and I'm going to show you how I actually build out my goal stack. So again, I read this to you, so I won't read it again. But what I've done is I've gone in and redone this and kind of showed you the key elements that I want to focus on based on my cardinal point. So in that statement, I talk about financial freedom. I talk about multiple streams of income. I talk about being debt-free, doing what I love, providing values to others, and creating and protecting generational money. So that's how the cardinal point should work for you. It's a statement. It's a statement of a future state in your life, but it should have the elements within it that allow you to kind of pull out, okay, these are the things that are most important to me. Okay, once you have that, now you can create a goal stack. Now I'm going to switch over and actually show you my actual goal stack. I'm going to be really transparent about what my goals are and financially and otherwise. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see the financial goal stack sheet. I just switched over. Okay, we're good. Okay, so here's my focus, and this comes directly from my statement, my cardinal point statement: financial freedom, multiple streams of income, debt-free, doing what I love, providing value, and creating generational money. So here's my 1-year goal detail. My achievement date is December of 2021. Box the Compass has become my full-time focus, and I'm able to put all of my energy and drive into growing a legacy. In December, the revenue generated from Box the Compass passed $15,000 mark. My pipeline is full through the first quarter of 2022. I've transitioned the majority of my time away from Yellow Sage marketing, although I have a handful of consulting clients that I enjoy working with. Our income for 2021 will exceed $180,000, and we have no consumer or vehicle debt. Okay, so that's my 1-year goal statement. I sometimes will build a 1-year goal vision as well. And when you go through the entire course, you'll see how we build vision statements. But sometimes I'll do a 1-year vision just because I want to have a view of what my life looks like in 1 year. This is a goal stack, which shows you the things you want to accomplish. But what do those things physically mean? Like, what does your life look like when you achieve that? Well, my life looks like I have a brand new truck. I know exactly what model and make of a truck that is. Nick doesn't agree with me, but I'm okay with that. I'm looking at buying my own home. We're renting a home right now, which we absolutely loved and have no desire to leave, but I have a vision of what my house looks like. And if I'm at this stage in 1 year, when I'm at this stage in 1 year, I will be looking for a new home. So building out that vision helps kind of put a mark in the ground and a vision of what you can create and what that looks like when you actually do it. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's break this down into a 6-month goal. Okay, so again, this is going to be by the end of June 2021. Yellow Sage marketing is supporting our family while Box the Compass is growing. Revenue for Yellow Sage is at $10K per month, and Box the Compass brings in $2,000. Box the Compass is growing rapidly. I'm teaching my system in both live and online trainings. I have a podcast with over 100 subscribers, and I'm interviewed regularly by experts in this space. My tribe is over 500 strong, filled with amazing people that love the systems I teach, and my reach is growing by 100 new people each month. I currently have 2 streams of income, including my marketing consulting with Yellow Sage and Box the Compass, which has several streams, including online courses, live trainings, and coaching. I've started writing a book that will provide an additional stream of income. Okay, so 6 months from now, that gets me about halfway to where I want to be. And that's the way you want to build out your 6 month. Now, if you decide you want to do like a 3-month statement and kind of break it down even more, you can. I just break it down into 1-month goal sections. So my 1-month goal details: by the end of January, I want to have gained 2 clients that cover my essential expenses. I've launched my 2nd paid beta for Life by Design with 15 people. I've made a 2nd guest appearance on a podcast. My goal is to get out there and help share my expertise and experience with people from other areas. I have 200 people in my tribe. I have 1,500 friends on Facebook. I've posted content each day. I've done my morning and evening reviews every day this month and used my journal to record my progress and insights. I'm up to date on our financial plan, and I'm beginning the planning for a live retreat training at Royal Creek Ranches in Utah. Okay, so by the end of this month, that's kind of what I know I need to have happen. Well, in order to make that 1 month goal happen, what do I have to do this week? I need to add one consulting client to my marketing consulting business, begin expansion and revision of the Life by Design Academy course, post 10 times to my Box of Compass page, adding 30 people in my tribe, identify and book a guest appearance on a podcast. I've done my morning and evening reviews every day this week and use my journal to record my progress and insights. And I've reset YNAB, which is called, it's short for You Need a Budget. It's a great budgeting tool for families. That's really insightful and provides a powerful tool to keep my finances in line. So in order to do that, what do I have to do today? Well, today I've got to finalize my vision-based goal stacking training and prep. I need to post on goal stacking, deliver my training, send final reminder at 5:30, do my morning and evening reviews. So just so you know, my weekly and daily goal stack, I keep track of in my journal. So I don't build out this document every day and change my weekly and daily goals. I usually do my annual 6 month and 1 month goals on a sheet, put it inside my journal, review those as I build out my weeks and my days to make sure that I'm staying on track. And then in our habits and actions training, we talk about how to build those weeks and days out, make sure that you stay on track. So that's how you take your cardinal points and the vision for each one of those and take that and turn it into what you need to do tomorrow. And that's been my vision for all along is what can I do? What can I put together to create a program and a process that I know what I need to do tomorrow, and that I know that what I'm doing tomorrow is in alignment with what I want to create in a month and 6 months and a year and overall in my life vision. Okay, so that wraps up the training on these two pillars. Any questions? And then I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of what's next and how this program works together. Guys good? Okay, cool. Let me switch back over. Okay, so we all have a vision of what we want, and where we're at today is obviously clear to us. Where we're at in the future might be a little bit less clear. Our vision for what we might want to create as the kind of the end point of our journey might not be as clear as what we're experiencing today, and possibly even less clear is how we can get there. So the inspiration behind Life by Design Academy is to create an immense clarity on what your ultimate vision looks like and the pathway on how to get there. The key pillars of the pathway or this process are what we call the Life by Design Academy. And there are 5 pillars that we cover: life vision, waypoints. Life vision is kind of your North Star. It's what the ultimate day in a perfect life of yours looks like. And we show you how to create that. Waypoints are the stopping points, because life vision, it's really important to be this big, huge, almost scary vision that you may not think that you have the ability to achieve given where you're at today, right? You want it to be big. You want it to be empowering and exciting, but a little bit scary too. Waypoints are the stopping points on the way to your life vision. So if I'm going to go from where I'm at in Vancouver, Washington, let's say to Las Vegas, I know my waypoints are Boise, Salt Lake, St. George, and Las Vegas. So waypoints are simply the intermediate points between where you're at today and your life vision. Cardinal points and goal stacking we talked about today. We covered kind of a basic overview of those in the Life by Design Academy. We cover them in much more detail. Then actions and habits is really a key pillar, because we have actions and habits in our lives today that have resulted in the exact standing in our life of where we're at today. So what we do every day, the habits and actions that we take, has resulted in the life that you have today. So in order to change your life, you're going to have to change those actions and habits. And in that pillar, we go through some really key elements of creating different habits and actions in your life that will be in alignment with your vision. Okay. So in the summer after I graduated high school, I actually worked as a horseback guide in Yellowstone. So here's a picture of me in Yellowstone when I was a guide. Okay, that's not really me, sorry. It was more like this. Unfortunately, I actually don't have a real picture of me on my horse in Yellowstone, which is a regret that I have to this day. I don't know why I never took a picture, but I didn't. But that's basically what it was. I was a trail guide. We led people on horseback. And it was the best summer of my life. You know, sometimes in life, we just need a guide on our journey. You know, a coach is great. They're going to teach you and train you, and they're going to call the plays in from the sideline, what they want you to run. But a guide knows the mountains. He knows the pathways over the summit. He's been on them. He understands exactly where you need to go and will walk next to you as you go through that. So my goal and my vision for my life is to be a life guide, not a coach, but a life guide that walks next to you and side by side with you on the trail and the journey that you want to take. The next academy that we're doing is going to start a week from yesterday on the 19th of January. And we're going to cover all 5 pillars. And I'd like to be your guide on that journey. Let me tell you a little bit about what it looks like and what that experience includes. First of all, we're going to do a group training. I've done this on a back-to-back basis and covered all 5 pillars in a week. And the feedback and challenge in that I got was that it's really hard to keep up and to get everything done. So you kind of fall behind, and then you don't necessarily actually take action and make it happen. So the way we're going to do this academy is we're going to do group training every Tuesday night for 5 weeks. We're going to cover one of the 5 pillars each week. Each week, I'm going to provide you with a one-on-one guide call. So we're going to do a weekly call individually where we're going to review kind of the progress that you're making, what you've done for the homework, and give you any guidance that you need to have. You're going to have all of the worksheets and materials. So you're going to have templates for all of this. All you have to do is print it out and fill in the blanks, or we're going to create it in a way that you can actually do it on the computer in a PDF guide. And so you'll have all that. The other thing you're going to have is lifetime access to the Life by Design Academy group. It's a Facebook group that we've created that is like-minded individuals who are working on their journey and their pathway and their visions. And you'll have the access to that for a lifetime. But the most important thing that I think that you'll gain out of this is you're going to know where you are, where you're going, and how you need to get there. And that's the promise I make. And so I would love to have you join us on that. Normally, that academy runs for $847 for the training, the coaching, and all the materials. It's 2021. It's a brand new year, and I know it's been a rough year for a lot of people. So for this first academy that I'm running this year, I'm going to cut that price down to $297. I would love to have you join me. Send me an email, tjames@boxofcompass.net. Let me know you're in, and we'll get you signed up, get you all the information you need to get started. So before we close, I just want to say thank you for joining me. I want you to have an amazing day. And Dale Carnegie, who is kind of the godfather of self-improvement, said that inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. I think the benefit of joining the academy, number one, is that I am there right beside you. A lot of times we get excited about something and we don't take action. Well, I'm inviting you to take action, to join us and to create this pathway for 2021 so that a year from now, you're not sitting in the same place going, man, that year went by quick and what did I accomplish? I'm another year older and another year behind me, but what did I actually accomplish? A year from now, I want you to be sitting down saying, wow, I cannot believe everything that I did this year. So thanks for joining me tonight. I hope to see you on the other side. Have a great evening.